Hello, hello. This is Andrea in Orlando. Hi, my beautiful flower people. All right, couple things happened today in history. Let's talk about it. Why am I dressed like this? Okay, well, peace, love, grooving, baby. Everything is awesome, right? Until Charles Manson shows up and like ruins Woodstock and kind of completely ruins a good thing. Well, I'm dressed like this in honor of Woodstock, not Charles Manson, but I mean, he really did kind of signal the end of the entire hippie era and movement, although it still lives within a lot of us. Okay, on today, November 12th, in history, little Charlie Manson entered the world. We're going to talk about a couple other events that happened that day in history. Then we're going to do some birthday shout outs. I am going to give one more super important birthday shout out to Paolo Banchero. That's right, here. He plays for the Orlando Magic, and this is Andrea in Orlando. Yours truly, I'm Andrea. Happy birthday, Paolo. You are alive, you are well. You are not screwing it up royal like little Charlie Manson. So you keep being you, keep being awesome. We love you. All right. Okay, couple other birthdays. Let me see. We have Harry Blackmun, Blackmun. That confuses me. Okay, but he was the 100th Supreme Court Justice, and he was also the individual behind the decision, the ultimate decision for Roe versus Wade. Yeah. So he was born today. All right. Awesome. He was actually born in Nashville, Illinois, not Nashville, Tennessee. And so that's a pretty cool thing. He was born in 1908. And Charlie Manson would hit the floor, I think, what, 1934. All right, a couple other things happened today in history. 1927, Joseph Stalin. Boo hiss. He became the undisputed ruler of the Soviet Union after Trotsky was expelled from the Communist Party. Say that 3 times fast. Uh, Trotsky was expelled. Trotsky, not Trotsky's. Trotsky. Okay, you get your Trotskys from an antique shop. You get your Trotsky the heck out of here. When Stalin comes to power, again, we know how that went. Not super amazing. 1977, Ernest Dutch Morial from my second hometown, New Orleans, NOLA. He actually became the first black mayor of the city of New Orleans. So that happened in 1977. Good job. We love that kind of thing because it was in 1775, so 202 years before New Orleans voted in its first black mayor. Our president, George Washington, he forbade recruiting. He forbade the recruiting of black troops. That's pretty nasty. Yeah, George Washington, you guys might want to go and do some research on that guy. Um, he was our first president, and so that's great. Led our country, awesome, one of our founding fathers, but the founding fathers kind of like they got up to some stuff. Anyway, we'll go all into that another time. Not happy birthday to George Washington, but in 1775, he forbade the enlisting of black troops. 202 years later, though, something awesome happened. New Orleans got an formal official black mayor. So that's pretty cool. 1923, this day in history, November 12th. Little Hitler, he got butt hurt for the first time, or I don't know if it was the first time. It seems like he was kind of the guy to have been like butt hurt like a lot in life. But anyway, he was arrested, formally arrested. I think this might have been his first formal arrest for attempting to seize power during, oh my goodness, it was the beer hall pooch, poosh, beer hall, this beer hall thing. And little Hitler showed up, made some noise, got taken away. He did not like that. 10 years after that, also on this day in history, also on November 12th, the Nazis received a 92% vote in German parliamentary elections. So we know what happened. Hitler was very upset. He became very, very vocal. He was really got everybody kind of organized, super hyped up. Make America, excuse me, make Germany great again. Aha. Yeah. So anyway, Hitler did that, and he did get everybody rallied together. So 1923 got arrested. 1933, on November 12th, the Nazis actually seized power in a 92% vote. 1933, something cool happened on the other side. We take a hop across the pond on the other side of the ocean. The first NFL football game on a Sunday took place on a Sunday at Philadelphia's Baker Bowl. Sporting events on Sunday had been illegal prior to that. Now, forever since, it has been Super Bowl Sunday. 1940. Now, this one kind of hits close to home. My mom's family is from the Midwest. It was in 1940. There was a gigantic blizzard. And I mention this because I have family photos of when this blizzard rolled through the Midwest of the US. And there were walls of snow that were like 10 feet high. It was just nuts. Um, Rolling ahead, 1946, this day in history, November 12th, Walt Disney's Song of the South, the movie. You guys want to check it out? Disney pulled a lot of it. Why'd they do that? Huh? Whenever something disappears, it's just like really hard to find, or it's not even like vaulted. I know they vaulted Snow White for a long time, but it wasn't vaulted. When some company does something like that and they're like, shh, let's just get rid of it, didn't happen ixnay on the Ong of the Althvay, then that probably means it was in very poor taste. This happened in 1946. It was in poor taste. And by the way, Tiana's Bayou Adventure used to be Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain, we love Splash Mountain, but Splash Mountain, the ride, had actually been based on the movie Song of the South. They built the ride, they pulled the movie. Hope nobody just kind of looks into the history of the ride. Yeah, that kind of thing. I think you feel me. Let's hop ahead a little bit. 1980, New York City's mayor, Ed Koch, uh, he admits to trying marijuana. Yeah, he did not inhale. Okay, I don't know. He didn't say that he didn't inhale. He didn't go that far. He says, yeah, he tried it. We don't know if he liked it or not. Hey, Bay, get my gummies. Okay. By the way, speaking of gummies, and does anybody use the internet to buy weed or gummies or THC or anything like that? If you do, hey, that's your business, no shame. But it was in 1990, on this day in history, November 12th, that the World Wide Web was first proposed by CERN computer scientists Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Galileo, anyway, whatever. 1990, the web, as we know and love it, was first put into idea. And all right, so we wouldn't be watching this and we wouldn't be enjoying ourselves online and all that. By the way, like, subscribe, you know the drill. Okay. If we hadn't had these guys coming up with a proposal for a computer network that would communicate via hypertext, and you could browse various websites through an interconnected worldwide web. And that happened November 12th in 1990. Jennifer Saunders. I want to say I love you, Jennifer Saunders and Joanna Lumley. You guys first appeared in, this has to be my favorite show ever. Absolutely fabulous. Fab. Praise be. I have been watching you guys forever. And it was in 1992 that these two old broads just started kind of partying on screen. If you watch the show, absolutely fabulous. It has been going on. They're still making movies, they're still making shows. It's nuts. And the girls, they look pretty good. They're drinking a lot. They're just doing a lot of just bad behavior. It's British comedy, so I think they allow a little bit more tongue in cheek. In the US, we have shows like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Their level of inappropriateness would, I'd say, kind of have been spearheaded by shows like AbFab. So I was very surprised that that was actually taking place in 92. So you guys go check that out. Absolutely fabulous. If you aren't familiar with the show, you're going to love it. 2015, this day in history, November 12th. Hats off to a good president, not George Washington. Mm, uh, um, Barack Obama. He was the first US president to appear on the cover of a gay magazine. Love that. Good job. Good job. That's awesome. Not only making things public, but public acceptable, and let's just kind of change the tone a little bit. So Barack, you did a really good thing. He appeared in 2015, November 12th, on the cover of a gay magazine, and he was deemed Ally of the Year. And the magazine, the title was Out Magazine. So good job. Now there is one that I want to mention that took place this day in history, November 12th. Now there was Morales, former Bolivian president Evo Morales. He takes asylum in Mexico. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because when I was doing my research on this day in history, this guy's picture came up. Dude, bonkers hair. That's all I can say is that this stuff is bonkers. It's like if Sonny Bono and like a butt had a baby. The stuff is so feathered. It's just like a butt in the front of its head. It's amazing. But you got to check it out. I'm going to include a picture. Boop. Right. So that's this guy. That's why I had to include it. It was just too amazing. By the way, this day in history, last year, the president, Donald Trump, right? King Cheeto, as we know and love him, he actually voted, or excuse me, he decided that Elon Musk, Mr. Tesla himself, was going to spearhead an endeavor with him. Now, I'm not really sure what eventually happened with that. And reason being is I think that Trump got kind of weirded out a little bit. And for Trump, who throws like some super bonkers party, if Trump is telling you, hey, babe, you got to chill out. I guess Elon showed up at the White House with like a snack pack, like a little to go bag with like ketamine and like, which is basically like prescription methamphetamine. Anyway, he was like so hyped up, so hopped up that even Donald King Cheeto was like, okay, I don't know if we're going to be able to publicly have this type of relationship. So that's something to think about. Tesla's their every other car on the road. I don't know. I don't know the method behind the madness, whatever. Also, this day in history, Ellis Island. Speaking of presidents and immigrating and world history and all that kind of stuff, Ellis Island closed in 1954 was when Ellis Island, where my ancestors, my relatives, that's how we got here. That's how we were processed into the United States. And it's the same as this, it's the same for many of you. In fact, almost all of you. At one point in time, you have one family member or another that did pass through Ellis Island. It's huge. It was a very, very big deal. It started in 1892 and it was in 1954 on November 12th when they finally closed down. You can obviously you could still go by and you can see it and all that. It is something and is definitely, definitely part of American history. All right, let me see which other ones I wanted to include. Okay, I want to keep everything, kind of like short and timely for you because it's just a quick tick on today in history, November 12th. I'm going to end it with some birthday shout outs. We said happy birthday, I guess, right? I don't know. You made some noise. You make us remember the importance of peace and love, even though you worked it all up. Little Charlie Manson. By the way, Charlie Manson, and he knew Sharon Tate and Polanski, Roman Polanski, her husband, that whole murder massacre thing. They knew each other. I don't know. I'm suspicious, right? So, okay, let's look into that a little bit more. Regarding other famous villains that we have to say a happy birthday to, she's actually still alive with us. Tanya, my girl, Tanya Harding, right? You know what you did, girl. Margot Robbie, who was the wife, the Duchess, right, in Wolf of Wall Street, which I absolutely love the movie with Leo. Love that movie. But I think she actually did an amazing job playing, the trash that is Miss Tanya Harding. So good job, Margot. Tanya, you could have done better. I hope you've turned things around a little bit, but today's her birthday. Happy birthday. Now, in opposites, we have Miss Grace Kelly. She is no longer with us. She did become Princess of Monaco. She had been a siren of the silver screen, Hollywood icon. Great Grace, she was graceful, but her name actually also did happen to be Grace Kelly, and she was born today. We do have some living stars that I want to give birthday shout outs to. I already said Paula Boncaro because you're awesome. And I have a son who is I'm going to say he's your biggest fan. He really is. So you got to keep killing it, at least for this guy, okay? Please. All right, but happy birthday to living people. We have Raja Mitchell. She was in a movie called Rogue, which is about a killer crocodile in Australia. That's a terrible Australian accent, I know. I'm going to work on it. But Raja Mitchell, she's actually very cool. I'm not sure what she's been really active in lately. She did some awesome stuff, though. She did Pitch Black, with as a movie, kind of a sci-fi alien-esque type of a thing with Vin Diesel. So if you haven't seen that movie, Pitch Black, it came out a while ago. Check it out. It was kind of awesome. We have Anna Hathaway. Happy birthday, Anne. And Ryan Gosling, that we all love, some rom-com star, Mr. Ryan. I also want to say happy birthday to Neil Young. Okay, so I think we've covered some of the birthdays and things that took place today. I'm happy that you're with me today. Like, subscribe, of course, yada, 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 but I'm going to be with you doing this every day. So, happy birthday to everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. For Andrea in Orlando, it has been my pleasure. Bye.